Hey, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the Hanging On to Hope podcast.
I'm Brenda J.
And I'm Karen Wonder.
And we are hangingontohope.org.
This podcast is intended as educational and is not psychological or medical advice. Always consult a professional when needed, and we disclaim any liability in connection with the instruction, information, or advice given.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hanging On to Hope podcast. This is Brenda J. And today we're honored to have Sherrie Cavalari on the show. She's the founder of Red Rover SOS, a nonprofit organization dedicated to combating human trafficking. Sherrie brings over 40 years of experience in broadcast media, having worked as a sales manager and account executive with nationally ranked television affiliates across Arizona and throughout the United States. She is well-versed in marketing strategy, strategic messaging, and building strong community relationships. In addition to a professional background, Sherrie has served on the Women's Leadership Board at LifeLink Church, working closely with community missions. She holds degrees in broadcasting and media and has advanced theological training and is currently completing her bachelor's degree in theology. Whew! Sherrie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome to the show. And I didn't know you were getting your bachelor's degree in theology. That's awesome.
Yes, amongst other things. So it's a little bit on hold and all the classes are online now. So I'm trying to fit in when I can resume the classes, but that's on the docket. So
wow, that's awesome. So before we begin, we want our listeners to know this episode is being released the weekend of Night of Hope, the largest human trafficking awareness event in Arizona. Lawmakers, law enforcement, advocates, and thousands of people come together to be educated and to bring awareness to what human trafficking really is. In collaboration with Sherrie and the work she's doing, we wanted this podcast to be one of the first resources people hear when they scan our card at the event.
We've also grouped several human trafficking episodes together so they're easy to find. Episodes 97 and 98 are Human Trafficking Education and Prevention with Jessica and Ruth, a foundational two-part series explaining what human trafficking is, how it happens, and how prevention works. Episodes 202 and 203, Human Trafficking and Grooming Prevention with Sherrie Lopez, founder of Pearl at the Mailbox, a survivor-led conversation that goes deep into grooming tactics, online exploitation, and warning signs parents need to know. And episode 180, CC's Hope Center, Bridging the Gap Against Human Trafficking with Leah Benson, highlighting one of the human trafficking shelters here in Phoenix area and the support provided to survivors.
So Sherrie, your mission is to be a megaphone for trafficking victims by raising awareness, giving victims access to reliable resources, and eliminating human trafficking in the American Southwest. You've also created something very unique called Red Rover. Can you explain what Red Rover is and how it works when someone is in danger?
Absolutely. So the name Red Rover comes from the childhood game that you guys may be old enough to have played.
Yes.
Yes.
I certainly have.
Yeah.
It actually originated in England back in the 1800s. But that's when people would stand on one side of a football field and they would join hands, and then the people across the field on the other side, and they would call out, Red Rover, send Sherrie right over, or Brenda right over, or Karen right over. But for me, unfortunately, they would never call my name because I'm very little and I could never break through. That's where it originated from, but we are taking our children back over as we get serious with it, and it relates to human trafficking. And actually, our logo as well is designed with the intention to show the reality of what human trafficking is. And our logo is a globe. And it's a world, and the world is crying. And across the top, you have children holding hands, and they're faceless because trafficking is faceless. It attacks everybody. And then on the side of the world, we have slave chains, and they're breaking free. And underneath the caption is, we're taking our children back over. Stop organized slavery. And that's what SOS stands for. And we are old enough to remember an SOS as well. Younger generations may not know what that call to action is, but that's for the acronym for Stop Organized Slavery.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Some people have asked me about our logo. Why don't we make it smiling, the world smiling? I get it because it's not a smiling situation.
Right.
It's a very sorrowful situation, and people are crying. And
yes.
It is. It definitely is.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I met you last year. You were at the table next to us last year. And
Yes.
I thought, I was like, wow, this is really cool, but I didn't fully understand it yet until now. So I'm so glad that we're doing this podcast. So when a victim is in need of help, they can simply say the phrase Red Rover to alert bystanders to call the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Sherrie, would you like to share that hotline number with our listeners and expound on why this signal is so important?
Yes. The human trafficking number is 1-888-373-7888. Again, that's 1-888-373-7888. And it's universally used throughout the United States that everybody pushes to. And it's important not to get personally involved because it can be very dangerous. So as a bystander, you don't want to enter the situation that you're witnessing because it's very, very dangerous. So what we do is we push people to the human trafficking hotline number and they know what to do on the other end. I've called it before and they go through a series of questions that they ask you. Obviously, if it's something urgent, call 911. It's an emergency situation like that. But if you're using the trafficking hotline number, they can verify and assess the situation and send law enforcement as needed to the place. But again, it's just dangerous because you don't know for you and for the victim what you're walking into. So it's better to duck away, make the telephone call and report it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't want to ever do anything that's going to endanger the victim.
And there's also a local Arizona human trafficking tip line. It's 877-429-8477. And that's a tip line.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your vision is to make Red Rover a universal call to action around the world and to help 750,000 people from modern day slavery. So can you expound on that vision and what success would look like long term?
Absolutely. So the name 750,000 comes actually from Harriet Tubman, who was an abolitionist, back in the 1800s. And she saved personally over 700 people from slavery. And she walked over 100 miles, each time doing it. So you just think back to what we can do with technology today. And that's where the number 750,000 comes because we have the capability of reaching that many people.
Mm-hmm.
And with the long-term goal of it is to raise awareness to free people from modern day slavery in the Arizona, the United States, and eventually throughout the world. And obviously to support the resources that we have listed on our website, all the people that are already out in the field doing the excellent work and to be their megaphone. And we help raise awareness by showcasing what they do so people know where to go and to get education from awareness. So we have to be ears and eyes on the street. We have to utilize them because it's going to take a village to put a dent in this situation because it's about money. And anywhere where there's money involved, there's going to take a lot of work in order to refute it.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, yeah, we're in 125 countries, so I hope this gets listened all over the world so this can become global.
Great.
Yeah. So education is a big part of what you do, helping people understand what trafficking actually looks like so they can recognize it and respond. Can you expound on the educational resources, trainings, or events you provide through Red Rover SOS?
Yes, on our website, we do have listed Ploris training, and that is the organization that's the human trafficking hotline number that runs it, the number that we mentioned earlier. So they do have a training education that is free as well that we list on our website that anybody that wants to take it. And we also are going to be launching our own curriculum that we've written 10 chapters of training on sex trafficking and sexual extortion for working with children's homes, inside the state of Arizona. We were asked to partner with Sunshine Acres on that. And so they built a training haven and our curriculum is going to be part of that. It's very, very educational. It's very engaging. It's animated. They have video examples. We have the red flags. We have the facts and myths about it. And we compiled the information that we have from various different resources, some that are listed on our website, other that we've researched on our own. We source all of it. And again, it was reviewed by experts in the educational field from both primary and secondary education, as well as trafficking survivors. So we're very excited to launch that, and it will be free, effective in March on our website.
That's great.
Good timing for this podcast.
Yeah. So Sherrie, did you want to walk us through your key points on what human trafficking really is today? The numbers and methods change, and many people will misunderstand what trafficking looks like. I think that's good to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody has a different number, and Homeland Security will tell you that there's no exact number because so much of it is underreported. So everything that we can do is the best guesstimate off of what is reported. But we know in general, the average age is 14. We know it's a $150 billion industry. It's second only to arms training. And there's some recent information that's come out that it has surpassed arms trading. as far as revenue goes. The average trafficker can make anywhere over $300,000 a year because they sell their victim over and over and over again. And 60% of the victims that are trafficked are by somebody that they know. And within 48 hours for runaways, they are abducted into trafficking. It's not the myths that you see on television. Very rarely is it somebody being chained up in a basement, that's been kidnapped and that's being trafficked. And through my conversations with Homeland Security, one of the officers, and been in it for over 20 years, has maybe seen that situation happen one time. So it's very rare. It's people that like as stated. So it doesn't affect any zip code. It affects everybody.
Well, I want to share something personal. This year, one of my friend's daughters was trafficked. We shared it on social media, and by God's grace, she was found within 24 hours. Like many people, I used to think trafficking mostly looked like kidnappings, just like what you were talking about. But here in Arizona, we're seeing young girls as young as 13 to 15 groomed online by slightly older men posing as boyfriends, just kind of like with Sherrie Lopez. Can you expound on grooming, how it happens, and what parents should be watching for?
Yeah, the definition of grooming is the process of traffickers finding and wooing as victims by exploiting their vulnerabilities. It could be with food, security, shelter, addiction, or psychologically. So like with using love, friendships, stability, past traumas in order to lure them into the situation. And as you mentioned, Sherrie is an expert on grooming, and she has 6 essential ways that she lists in order to help to prevent it, that parents, should be aware of. And they are: name it early, teach safe boundaries, notice behavioral changes, build support groups for safe adults, report concerns, and believe the victim.
Yes. And speaking of Sherrie Lopez, she's the founder of Pearl at the Mailbox. We've had her on the podcast, and she provides a grooming prevention line. Sherrie, can you explain what the line is, how it works, and how parents or concerned individuals can use it to help or educate?
Yeah, it's listed on her website, and you can call her hotline number. If you want to talk to somebody who suspects or has potential of grooming situations with an intent to exploit, they're there to listen, to answer questions, and offer support. And her number is 623-688-3214. Again, 623-688-3214 is her hotline number. And as you mentioned, Sherrie is a survivor of child grooming, and she's a speaker. She's an advocate. She writes a lot of law and gets registration approved both locally and on the federal side from the federal state government. So she's an excellent source for somebody to reach out to if they need to talk.
Yeah, she was sharing about that when she was on our podcast, what she's doing to help.
Yeah, when we spoke earlier, you mentioned about Sunshine Acres and that you released that new educational material. You did share what the material is. Why did you feel it was important to create it, and how did that collaboration come together?
So it collaborated with Sunshine Acres. They reached out with us. For those that aren't familiar with Sunshine Acres, they're a children's home that's here in the Valley, and they've provided safe, loving environment for over 2,000 children for over 71 years, from ages 2 to 17. And I had the honor of working with them for over 20 years. Again, dating myself, in the Valley. And I have a very strong relationship with them and with Kevin, who is the executive director. And he knew that the work that I was doing with Red Rover. So he reached out to see if I could collaborate with them. And they're being mandated by DCS, so Department of Child Services, all children's homes, to train their employees on 17 different categories or matters of interest. And human trafficking and sexual extortion is one of them. And so that's the part that we partnered with them on collaborating, and we wrote it for them. It's a training haven. What they built is absolutely incredible tool that's going to be used for all children's homes, for Sunshine Acres, all children's homes in Arizona, and eventually inside the United States. And with that, when he invited me in, I immediately thought of Sherrie Lopez, because I had the pleasure of meeting Sherrie at Night of Hope last year. And I invited her to speak at our gala, which we have once a year, raising awareness about human trafficking. And we've been collaborating ever since. And so when Kevin asked me to work with them on the curriculum, we invited Sherrie, went out to Sunshine Acres, had a tour of the facility. She met Kevin and met the team, and they are going to collaborate even beyond the training haven. Sherrie did write chapter 4 on grooming in our curriculum out of our 10 chapters. And she's also going to collaborate with them for more in-depth training for next step levels for their employees, and probably doing some in-person training. because what a tremendous asset it would be to catch it early, in the homes before actually the trafficking actually occurs. And so their relationship is going to continue way beyond even what we do with the curriculum.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm so glad that it's getting out there, that more people are getting educated.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that they are making the children's homes mandated that. Put it,
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
They need help, and they've recognized the fact that they do need help. And what Kevin did was take it to a next level by the training haven that he created. And once you see it, you're going to definitely be impressed. And there will be a free version. And then we'll have the free version, obviously, on our website that can be used for children's homes, for churches, for any organization that actually interacts with children. I think it's great training for them.
Yeah.
And then more will be available as well. But it's the only way to get your arms around it.
Yeah.
And it's going to take everybody interacting with children to make the difference and to help.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. More awareness. So for someone who may be listening because they're concerned about a loved one, does your website provide a place where people can find trafficking resources, education, and next steps all in one place?
Yes, it absolutely can. And we collaborate with other human trafficking organizations, even such as yourself, by the awareness that you are raising. And we showcase their fine work of what they're already doing. And so when they go to our site, if a victim or a survivor or anybody that wants education, and we have it by subject matter. So I need help looking for food. I need shelter. I need a tattoo removal. I need legal services. And there's a drop down, with the questions that answers that with a link that can answer those questions and help them with that resource. And that actually was designed on our website. We have the privilege and the honor of working with our content marketing media manager, and she actually is a survivor. And the first thing she did when she looked at her website is, when you look at very many, I just want to know immediately, what do I need and what do I need to go to? So it was a huge benefit for us to have her eyes on it and then just to simply tweak it. So it is very, very user friendly and resourceful. So
that's
they can find.
That's what we need. We try to keep ours simple too. Just facts and
it is
and numbers to call and hyperlinks. We filled it with hyperlinks so they can go straight to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No complication. It's got to be easy to navigate.
Yeah.
If not, people give up and they get frustrated. So
yeah,
definitely.
And we keep it not too much because I know when I go to look for something, I'm so confused half the time on people's sites. Like,
sometimes there's too much information.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get lost.
Mm-hmm.
So we also see that Red Rover SOS works with many partners. Can you explain how those partnerships work and why collaboration is so important in anti-trafficking efforts?
Right. It's kind of like we mentioned with the resources that are available. And because of our background and our strength, having the 40 years experience in media, our board has probably over 200 years experience altogether,
Wow.
Working in the space. So that's our strength. And the day-to-day strength, of the resources is to be a resourceful and save people. And they operate in their own window of what they do. If it's housing, if it's shelter, if it's legal services, we want to be the expert and help promote them so they don't have to worry about it, because that is what we do. And as we talked about earlier, it's going to take a village. And so one thing that we've started doing in August is each resource center that's listed on our site, once a month, we're going to take one and highlight them in our social media campaign. And that's no cost. It's being a partner. It's being that megaphone that's part of the vision in order to help everybody that's out there by showcasing what they're already doing. So they don't have to worry about it. And then you can take that social media post, run it on your website, run it on your social media, wherever it is. It's already produced and it's information that they've approved editorially of what we've put together before we put it out into the community. So that's just one way of trying to help. We also have an event calendar on our website because we try to showcase events that are coming around locally, like Night of Hope is listed on our website and other things that are happening that different organizations have. That's a little bit harder to gather that information. So that's one of the challenges that we work with, but we try to reach out, say, hey, what's going on? Scan websites, scan them and see what they're doing and then post that on our site. They have events, if they have walks, if they have shows, even down in Tucson or any local area, we try to promote them on our calendar section in our website.
Oh, thank goodness.
So
somebody's gifted in this area. We are not. I need some lessons.
They're here to help.
There are so many different nonprofits out there, but like when we all partner together, I just think that makes so much sense.
We want to bring
Yeah.
the barriers down, bring down the silos, and we're nimble. And so we can fluctuate. We're not promoting like a building of brick and mortar that we actually have, doing it. So we have the ability to help dive in and to help everybody else in what they're doing. So,
yeah. And we don't have a brick and mortar either, so that we can use our funds to help people.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
We're boots on the ground. We're out there.
right.
So we don't need it unless we had a store or something, but too time consuming right now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So you also recently retired after decades in broadcast media. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
So what led, that's a big congratulations. So what led you to step into this work full time, and how has that transition shaped your mission?
Well, I mean, it was actually a seed that God planted over 6 years ago in my heart when I was out driving around running errands and in hot Arizona, in August. And on came a story about human trafficking on NPR on the radio. And I just remember pulling into my driveway and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had no idea that it even existed, let alone in the world and in our backyard in our state. And so that seed was planted and it made me create the organization. And so God called me to it with my background in media and to be a megaphone for it, because I was overwhelmed at first when I'm like, I'm one person, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And I sat in the driveway and then I listened to those stories and then I went inside and it's like, what could I do? And then 3 months later, I was at a conference, at my church, and my pastor was talking about heroines in the Bible. And she literally went around the room and asked everybody what was their heartbeat, what was on their mission, what was God calling them to do. When it came to me, this time I said human trafficking. And it's like, yes, I'm one person, but I work for a media organization and I have a megaphone. And that's really where it started. And so I'd been working on it for the past 6 years in between as working full time. So any free volunteers all work within our organization, me included. And when the opportunity came for the early retirement, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And this was it. And putting 100% of my efforts full force. It's what God's called me to do. And it's a passion for it that exists. And I know the right people to be that megaphone and to keep it going, to shout it out. And it's like we just said, it's prevalent. It's happening every day, every minute. It's all in the news right now.
Right.
You can't get away from it. It's been around for a long time. And so we need to highlight what's happening on educational wise and bring awareness about it so we can help stop it. So you can't do something about something you don't know about.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, it's not good that it's on the news right now, but it is like everywhere on the news. And I was listening to a podcast today. It was a lawyer that fights for the Epstein victims, and it just how deep it goes. It's like you're saying at the beginning, how much money has spent, because when they were talking about how this got to be where it's at today, I mean, it was just so incredible amount of money that is involved in that. So it just makes you realize we all need to be educated about it and talking about it, because it's not going away, unfortunately.
Yeah. And until we did that first podcast with Ruth and Jessica, we weren't educated that much on it. And then as we kept doing more and more podcasts, I'm like, this is a critical piece to Night of Hope, that people can listen to all these resources and be educated and help stop it.
Yeah.
And then having that happen, this year to a 15-year-old I knew.
Yes. It's right there.
And that they found her is a miracle.
Right. But is a miracle, and using your organization, getting the word out there, the media, finding it online is how you can share that information very quickly and have people looking for her. And that's what saved her. What brought her in is by the awareness that was raised to it. And so we have to utilize the technology in that positive way, because on the other hand, like we kind of talked about earlier, groomers use it in the opposite way, and we have to counteract it and use it for the good. And it can be used for the good.
Yeah, it can be.
Absolutely. As we close, what other important things do you think our listeners need to know about human trafficking right now?
Well, that it exists in every single zip code. It doesn't know a color or a shade. There are some audiences, or not audiences, but there are some people that are victimized more than others that are vulnerable. There are categories that exist with that, but it can affect anybody. It could be your neighbor next door, but you have to be able to be educated about it in order to know what the warning signs are, know what the red flags are, in order to do something about it. And raising awareness is very, very important. And I mentioned earlier, when I'd met Sherrie Lopez, that she spoke at our gala that we had in May. Our first one was last year, and our second one is coming up on May 15th, 2026, here locally in Tempe. And it's really important because it's an hour of information about awareness. We are going to hear from law enforcement, facts and myths from it, from a local police department where they do a lot of operational stings. You'll also hear from the major sporting events. Last year, we had the NFL speak. We're working on this year possibly having speak from the NBA, because where the demand is where the trafficking occurs. And it very much affects our major sporting events. That's why Arizona is high on the target list, because of having the Waste Management Open here, the Barrett Jackson Show, the NC2A, the Super Bowl when it comes. So you have to go where the demand is. So we're going to hear from sports, and then we're going to have 2 testimonials from survivors. One is going to be Sherrie Lopez again. This year, she'll speak about current legislation that she's having written in Washington, D.C. to help protect the victims. And we're having another survivor, and her name is Lori Owens, and she's a former sheriff and a judge. And she is currently practicing law in Tucson in the state of Arizona. And she's going to share her story. She was trafficked at age 13. And just look at she's going to speak about PTSD and how it affects everybody and how to survive with trauma. And she's also going to be offering, and this is on our website under our resources, free legal aid to anybody in the state of Arizona, because that's where she practices law, affected by human trafficking. Wow. And that's on our resource right now. And that's her heart. And so free of charge pro bono work, any human trafficking case inside the state of Arizona, she will work with them. And then we're going to step it up and step it out with Fred Astaire. They professionally are dancers. And so it's an evening of entertainment, and they're going to dance with local celebrities, and business owners and people in the community. And it's going to lighten up the mood a little bit. And it's going to be a fun evening. It's just packed full of information, awareness, and everything goes to the proceeds to help raise awareness about human trafficking and for Red Rover. So it will be a great event, and hopefully you guys will come out and spin a number, on the dance floor. But it's good. It's great. Just like the show, Dancing with the Stars. So it will be judged, professionally, by professional judges. And last year, it's an incredible event. Like I said, it's packed full of information, and then it's lightened up because this is very intense, subject matter. It's very, very heavy. There's a lot that's shared, and people have to just also be able to relax and enjoy life and on the lighter side of it. And it's a really good event. So it's a good mixed blend of both.
Sorry, that last year was your first one, you said?
Yes, last year was our first one, and this will be our second annual. And there's information on our website. If you just go to redroversos.org, and you can find information with the landing page, about the event.
Can her and her new husband be in the competition? No.
We do not dance.
Well, you can be in it, but that's the point, is that you learn how to dance with the star, with a professional.
That's one thing we're compatible on. I'm like, I'm not a good dancer. He's like, I'm not dancing.
He's not a good dancer. You don't want one to outshine the other, because then whoever does, then they'll be leading the other one. Let's go.
I got him to do a slow dance.
You could do it. You could do a waltz. Waltz or a tango.
I know Brenda's a good dancer. She'll be
a slow dancer, though. I'm not good at that stuff. I'm just good at I got rhythm.
Yeah.
Well, then if you have rhythm, then they'll teach you the rest.
Okay.
So
we'll see.
That's half the battle, is having rhythm.
Okay.
So are there any other services, resources, or offerings through Red Rover SOS that we haven't covered, but you want people to be aware of?
Just to have hope, just like your name of your podcast is Hanging On to Hope. And I always, end with this Bible scripture. It's on our website. And I think it just really speaks to what we're walking through and what has been walked through going back to biblical times. So it's something that isn't new. It's always something. We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven by despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed. And that's 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. And I just think that really sums it up.
Powerful.
Yeah, that is very powerful.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Sherrie, for being with us and for the work that you do and sharing about your nonprofit. We just appreciate what you're doing so
Yeah.
much. It's so needed. especially
Thank
right now.
Absolutely. We're so grateful for
And
your partnership and for your heart for survivors. Our hope is that this episode equips listeners with the awareness and resources they need, especially as they attend Night of Hope. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And I hope that our booths are next to each other in this coming up on Sunday on the 22nd.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully we get to be by each other again. I don't know if this is at a
Yes.
different place. It's at a different church, right?
Yeah, it's in Glendale.
Yes.
What's your website and where can our listeners find you on social media?
So our website is Red Rover SOS.org. And again, that's Red Rover SOS.org. And you can follow us on Instagram, we're TikTok and X and Facebook under Red Rover.
Red Rover. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, SOS.
All right. And we just want to thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor and a pleasure. You two are lovely and you do incredible work all over the world. And we're just really appreciative of what you do, putting the word out there and the many different subject matters, that you do in human trafficking. And I know you do a lot of DV as well, but thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm so glad you came on.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah. Great
All
talk.
right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Put your interviewers at ease. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It helps. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you don't have to be perfect.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in to Hanging On to Hope. Check out our website, hangingontohope.org. There are resources on there, and if you would like to donate or volunteer, you can do that through our website. We are a brand new nonprofit, so we appreciate any and all support. And we thank you for listening, and until next time, keep hanging on to hope. We are evidence that there is hope and healing for you, and our passion is to help you find it too. So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening, everyone.